And welcome back to All Over the Map. Thanks for tuning in. On today's episode, we've got news of the day for February 8th, 2022. And in this game, we will do the news events, 5 news events that have occurred around the world that we can actually look up on a Google map and play the game of GeoGuessr. So, without further ado, we're going to get into this. And we're going to do this as a no time limit moving allowed challenge. So it'll give us the ability to look at the news article, learn about what happened, and see the actual location and maybe explore. And also guess, make your best guess at where it is in a play-along game. I thought this would be a great idea. So this is, again, a test run of this. We'll do this for about a week or so, see if people like it, see if there's good traction. And really it comes down to you. Do you want 2 games, right? 10 different news events. Do you want 15? We can make it whatever you want. We can do it specific to regions of the world. News of the day for Europe, news of the day for the United States, whatever you want. Comment down below. Love to hear your input on this. But without further ado, let's get into this game. But first, let's copy, and the play along link is in the description below. And let's see where the first news event takes us. And Antekio is in Finland. So we're going to take a look at this. This looks like an airport, right? Well, we're going to look at the news article for this, and we've got Finland unveiling a plan for electric aircraft routes across Lapland region. So the trial period will initially begin with the use of renewable aviation fuel, but will later switch using electric aircraft. So an Antekio, we've already got the map here. It's like in northern Finland. But these, what's interesting is an experimental project is going to test the viability of electric airplanes across the wider Lapland region. So this is pretty interesting. The advent, it could revolutionize travel. It's profitable even with a smaller number of passengers, good for the climate and all that stuff. And this is going to be interesting. I will definitely follow this one to see how that plays out, because it seems like it will start with fuel first, but then convert over to electric, which we'll see. So here's the news article, sustainable aviation fuel. And we can even look at this map and see where Antekio is. So we'll go back to Antekio and look up where this is. And, well, let's just take a quick look. So I'm going to fly to here, Lapland. Obviously snow and not that big of an airport, right? Let's see what we got here. We got, yeah, this just looks like an interesting airport that serviced the northern parts of, there it is, the Antekio of Finland, Norway, and Sweden. So let's see if we can find that airport in Antekio. Lapland Hotel, the head of Huskies. Where is this airport in Antekio? Antekio. I'm not sure where it is. Probably got to be around here somewhere, right? The K Market. I'm just going to guess there just for the sake of time. But it's interesting you don't even see it on here. And it's probably further afield. And it is further south, so 7 miles away. The Antekio Airport. So maybe this will be the first. Is it possible? Electric aircraft can make it possible to operate routes that cannot run properly with current fleets. So probably cheaper option, which is always a good thing. And yeah, the distance doesn't look that great, so it'd be interesting to see how far the distance is for an electric aircraft. So interesting. All right, so we'll get off to the next news article and round of the game. And we got an interesting one. I thought to include this one because, again, I don't want to get too political. It's not here for a political discussion, but a news event, treat it as it is. And this one, you got the Canadian flag. Obviously, you know, the truckers and all that stuff in Canada. It dominates the news. So when I look at BBC, CNN, across the world and any type of world news, the number one article today on the 8th of February is the truckers in Canada. And now that they've moved, I don't say they've moved, there's just more truckers dispersed throughout the border crossings. Not only are they in Ottawa, we'll take a look at that, but they're also here at the Ambassador Bridge in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So what's interesting, before we get into the news article, because we'll be very brief about it, I think most of you probably already know this, but what's interesting is about Windsor, I'll just make this point as a geography nut, is that we look south. Well, we're actually looking south into Canada, right? And the Ambassador Bridge goes, there's northeast. That's Detroit, Michigan. So what's interesting about this is that you actually travel from south to north into the United States from Canada. That's one of the few places, if the only place, I'm not sure, that that happens, which is unusual. So if you play a GeoGuessr game and you're here, make sure that you know that this side over here going south is Canada, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, that is. So let's take a quick look at the article there. And what's interesting is that international crossing is the busiest international crossing in North America. And they've basically, the truckers have blocked access to the international crossings in yet another demonstration of their grievances against the nation's COVID-19 rules. Yeah, so you can read the article here. I have it linked in the description below. I know they've been blaring a lot of horns for a lot of time. From what I've seen, is it seems like it's been fairly peaceful. Some miscreants from here and there, but for the most part, they just block, using their trucks to block the borders, and definitely affecting supply chains. That's for sure. So the actual article, enough of all that other stuff, is bridge traffic's backed up for miles. Police worked Monday to restore orderly flow of traffic due to interruptions at the exit from the Ambassador Bridge. So I don't think they're necessarily on the bridge. I think they're blocking some of the exits. And let's just see here. This is the Windsor Police, and just see how they are just causing traffic jams. And here's the actual Ambassador Bridge here, which is interesting. Seeking a permanent, sustainable, lawful outcome. So, like I said, it seems pretty peaceful so far in terms of there's no craziness. However, that said, that the supply chain's definitely slowed. So an interesting stuff there, because Canada, be honest, as an American, I thought you'd see stuff in this in America before Canada. Just a thought. But nonetheless, it's happened in Canada with the truckers. And what I wanted to show, so this is Windsor. So let's just take a look on the map where Windsor is. I've actually been to Windsor, been to the Windsor Casino, been to Detroit, been across this bridge. Nice area, nice part of Canada, Windsor. But yeah, you go south. This is the actual Windsor Bridge. I think we're about here. I know where's casinos up here, so maybe the casino's here. But in any case, nice city. What is interesting to note, again, this is just some inside information, is Canada, the drinking age is 19 years old. Across in Detroit, it's 21. So you have a lot of people from Ann Arbor, University of Michigan, a lot of the universities going across into Windsor. Back when I was, I would say 19, 20 years old and crossing that bridge, what was interesting is you didn't have to provide or show a passport, so now you do. So that's the other thing, passport now to cross, which is, again, interesting, but slows the process down. And here's Ottawa. So take a look at, there's Windsor, here's Ottawa. I know that I probably won't cover this story again unless something crazy goes on or something goes on, but basically this Parliament Hill, the trucks have been lined up all over the place here and just parked. I know they haven't been blocking everything. I think they have a lane that they have open. I'm sure it's probably the same here, but I know like Saskatchewan, which is out to the west, and Alberta have, I guess, truck blockades as well for border crossings there. I'm not sure where else, but it's what has just transpired, I think, over the past couple days is this border crossing in Windsor, which is as you see there's which is crazy. I never knew this. If you know anything else, it's the busiest international crossing in North America, and that blows my mind because I think about like the crossing from Tijuana into San Diego or to Mexico. I just thought that would be that's crazy. So nonetheless, we'll get on to the next one. So let's just drop it there. Let's make that guess. And we were on the Ambassador Bridge, just by a point. How about that? We'll get off to the next news story here, and we've got a nice scenic look here. The unfortunate thing with this is, there's people there, is that I think let's look to, well, I don't think this compass is right, but to the north of here, this is actually Madagascar. And Madagascar was recently hit by some cyclones, or the second cyclone is in 2 weeks to hit. and Madagascar struggles to bring aid. So I want to bring attention to this because it's also important sometimes to look at places that struggle with natural disasters. Don't necessarily get the in the United States, I would guess the majority of people don't even know that this even happened, which is kind of sad because it's important to look at some natural disasters across the world and bring light to that first and foremost, and then second, see exactly where this is. And I think it brings you a little more closer to this. And then, hey, if you can donate or help out whatever you can there, that's always great because it's always nice to help people in distress or that need help. So, emergency rescuers were struggling on Monday to reach parts of Madagascar ravaged by a cyclone over the weekend because many roads and bridges were impassable while rising river levels were threatening to displace more people. 10 people dead, 43,000 displaced. And this is the aftermath of Cyclone Anna. Now you've got Cyclone Batsral, and this has been hit pretty hard. And again, this part, let's just take a look at Madagascar off the coast of Africa, where I think in the article, if you want to reference it again, it's in the comment below, is Mananjari, which is here. In this game, I had to go further down here. So you might think it's there, but honestly, it's down a little lower because there's not the Google Maps and any photospheres I could find in that area. But the cyclones have hit this part coming off the Indian Ocean to Madagascar there. So hope everything goes a lot better for the people of Madagascar. And we've got the next round, the fourth round. The fourth news event of the day is the Kremlin in. You see the flag of Russia. This guy here looking around like, what's going on? But Moscow, Russia, and another one of these the articles that I put out there that we could go either way with. We could go for the major news articles, or we could go with funny and crazy articles, and it's up to you. But I thought today would bring this one since it's important to see where exactly Ukraine, and we'll take a look at Moscow, obviously in this situation, because the Ukraine crisis, French President Emmanuel Macron met days ahead of Putin. And what I thought was interesting when I saw this article is that I don't know how you converse here. I know that he speaks French, he speaks Russian, but man, look at that gap in the table. I was always taught if you want to build relations or have a good way with people and a good rapport, you want to sit next to the person. You want to kind of like sit in this chair. I guess that's maybe for the translator, but the fact that there's a gulf between this, I just found that this news article, I had to show this because I thought this was interesting. Macron wants to meet because of crucial de-escalating the Ukraine standoff after 5 hours of talks with Vladimir Putin. So they met 5 hours. Hopefully they didn't talk all 5 hours at this table because that would be crazy. So again, some of the conflict here between Russia, Ukraine, the West, all that stuff here, you can, look at this and read this article. But basically what it was is that Macron met with Putin, trying to seek a diplomacy answer. And I'll just leave it at that, and you can read the news article, and then we'll actually come and take a look at this. This is actually the Kremlin, so they met here yesterday, and we'll come over here. Here's Moscow. We'll drop it at the Kremlin. We'll show everybody where the Kremlin is, where they met yesterday. I think, it's here. I'm not sure exactly where this is. I think we're over here somewhere. Alexander the Great, the Moscow Kremlin. So anybody, Red Square, anybody wants to know where the Kremlin is and you don't know where it is, well, this is where it is in Moscow. It's in Moscow, right? That's where they met yesterday. And the region that we're talking about where there's some tensions and is between, this area between, this is the border this is Ukraine and Russia here. So we've got Rostov-on-Don, we've got Kharkiv, Ukraine, Kiev, and then Belarus. So this whole area is what they're talking about yesterday from a geography perspective. So not that far away in Moscow. And just want, again, part of this game is to bring the news events to you, but also from a geography standpoint so you can see where this happens. My hope is that a lot of people know where this is, but my guess is that most people don't know where this stuff happens or where these news events happen. And more importantly, folks in the United States, I'd love to get a lot of Americans watching this to see this. Yes, this is where Ukraine is. Yes, the capital of Belarus is Minsk. Yes, the capital of Poland is Warsaw. The more that we learn about this, the more we can understand. Maybe this might not make sense, or maybe this does make sense, whatever that news event is, whatever's come out there. So I just want to bring it in a different light, different way. Let's make that guess for the Kremlin, and there we are, 212 yards away. Didn't even get a perfect round on this, and I created the game. Isn't that crazy? So we go off the fifth and final news story of the day, and we go back up to the Nordic countries, and we got Stockholm. So you're going to say, what the heck is going on in Stockholm today? Well, there is a company that's in one of these buildings down here, at least their headquarters. By the way, before I get into this, nice to see a red United States or American Mustang convertible in the streets of Stockholm. That, to me, is pretty unique, pretty cool. So anyway, back to the story. I digress. The story is, we've got a company by the name of PriceRunner that exists. I think their headquarters in this building. They also are in London and Denmark. But they're suing Google for 2.1 billion euros. And they're preparing for a long fight. So Swedish price comparison firm PriceRunner said on Monday that it was suing Alphabet-owned Google for about 2.1 billion euros, or $2.4 billion, the latest firm to take legal action alleging the search giant manipulated search results. So this is interesting. Sweden taking on the big boys, right? So PriceRunner chief executive Mikael Lindahl said that they are abusing the market to a very high extent and haven't changed basically anything. Interesting. $2.1 billion. I tried to find the actual company headquarters because you can find Google headquarters, you can find Meta or whatever it's called, Facebook. But PriceRunner, I couldn't really find it. I know it's one of these buildings here. But again, you go to look for it, and we'll just take a look down here. I believe it's in this building, but it doesn't really say. I think we could, is it 24 or 28? Was 44. So it's somewhere in these buildings, hidden off. Maybe you know where this is. PriceRunner. Maybe it's 38. That's what it is. I think it's 38 or 34. Anyway, I'm sure they visit, what is this place here? They visit Genghis Khan Mongolian barbecue and have some churros. Well, the churros doesn't look like it exists anymore. Maybe that's where the PriceRunner's executives eat. Who knows? But in any case, Stockholm, PriceRunner, suing Google. Thought that was an interesting news story. Didn't have quite the crazy news story today. A little more practical today. A little more folks that need some help in Madagascar. The Canadian truckers. That's always an interesting story because it seems like that could go on for a month or so from what I see. The Ukraine crisis, another thing. Crisis. Oh, man, all I want is peace, happiness, and being able to play GeoGuessr. But you know what? We can play GeoGuessr and learn about the world, learn about news events as well. So let's make this guess. The final guess of the news of the day. Stockholm, Sweden, PriceRunner headquarters is where? Well, I'm going to make this quick. I think we're up here somewhere. I'm just going to guess there. Hopefully you can beat me in this game. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, hit that like button. Share this with your friends. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, because I'll try to do these news of the day. If you've got any type of ideas with news of the day, whether you want me to do North America news of the day, a Europe news of the day. Hey, here's another one. How about a Finland news of the day? We can do it. I'll be happy to do it. It seems like some people like this idea. I enjoy it. I just want to bring, again, like I said, news events. We can learn about where things are. My long-term hope is that we get a lot of Americans watching this channel so that they can see, hey, wait, the Donbass region is in Ukraine, and Ukraine's next to Russia, not on the other side of the world from Russia. I'm telling you, it's a little crazy when you talk to some people that you come across in your daily life and they don't know where certain places are in the world. And some of these people run companies, and I sit there and think to myself, we got to get them watching all over the map and this news of the day and getting some experience and to learn where things are. That said, enough about that. Until next time, cheers.